So, one of the first concepts I teach kids is how fractions have equal parts. And I have put this into Boom Cards, which is a great interactive tool. If you're not familiar with Boom Cards, it is something that you can just jump onto with a fast link. But it is a great subscription. I pay $35 a year. I can put up to 200 students on my Boom Cards, and I can get lots of different free decks. I can pay for decks. It's just a great way to keep things engaging for kids. And then I get the data on what they've done. It's been a lifesaver during virtual learning. So kids will go into Next and they will read, and it actually has sound too, which is great. You can see over here, it will explain what a partition is if I push on it.
Into equal parts. This rectangle has 1, 2, 3 equal parts.
And so the kids will push Next when they're done, and then they go into an activity about whether this is a fraction or not, and they will click, and every time they get it right, it's recording this data for you. So this is the first deck. This is kind of simple, and it could even be used all the way down into first grade for fractions, but then I get into a little bit more with name and sort fractions. And so just reviewing again in third grade what these fractions are called and how they're divided and some different terms. So again, the key vocabulary at the beginning where you get different fractional parts here. And you can push the button and they can listen to what that means. And they learn about the numerator and the denominator and what that means. And then they go into practicing what the picture represents for here. So then they can click and they can continue to practice all the way into, I'm going to keep going. Then there becomes sorts. And the sorts here are more of a drag and drop. So you would drag it in, and then submit. Yay, I got some right. And so then they go into halves and thirds and talk about the different types of vocabulary here again. And then they do some more fraction sorts with those. And just keep practicing what that means, what those represent. After students are done with that, then we go into identifying fractions. And I really feel like this is the beginning of third grade fractions here. This is where we really like to start off. So again, those key vocabulary terms are in here again. And kids are going to learn how to represent fractions on a bar. Because eventually this fraction bar, we want to take away the parts of the bar and make it into a number line. Because in third grade, one of the big concepts we have to teach is fractions on a number line. So they'll learn that the part shaded is the numerator and all the other pieces are the denominator. Count those up, plug it in, and submit. And they keep going and keep going and keep going with lots of practice with that. As time goes on, there are more bundles that I sell, but there's other ones out there too. Fractions on number lines, equivalent fractions, because those are the main ones in third grade that we teach. Boom Cards are set up with points instead of money, but the point, this is basically $9.50. It's to avoid some tax purposes, I think, using Boom Learning. You can also purchase these cards on TPT if you prefer to do that and get your credits that way for next purchases. But this is just a phenomenal tool that I've really enjoyed using, and I hope that you will give it a try.